cupcakers. Today I'm going to show you how to frost a cupcake. And I'm using one of our Pastries for Pets frostings. And my name is Donna, in case you didn't know. I am the president and founder of Pastries for Pets. And I'm using one of our frosting products, and I'm not telling you which one on purpose, because I want you to realize that all of our frosting products take different amounts of water to do the same thing. So this particular frosting product might take a little bit more water than one of our other ones. And the reason why I'm telling you that is because once you have our products, you're going to get directions, and on the directions it will tell you a general guideline on how much water to add. Now I say a general guideline because you might want to add a little bit more water, a little bit less water, and it's all okay. Nothing is set in stone on the directions. So when you get your directions, it's just to give you kind of a broad example of how much water to put in. And I actually recommend putting in less water than the directions and then adding a teaspoon at a time so that you get the right consistency. And if you add too much water, you can always go ahead and add more of the icing or the frosting product back into the mix to thicken it up. So there's really no wrong or right way to add the water to the frosting mix. This is 1 cup of frosting mix, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my little mixing bowl for you. And I'm gonna put this aside, and I'm going to grab water. And I'm going to add about, I would say, 2 tablespoons to start. Now I want to, first of all, explain to you, frosting can work in 2 ways. The first way is to frost a cake. So when you go to frost a cake, there are directions on the bag for frosting a cake. You want to add a little bit more water so that when you go to frost the cake, it's on, an icing knife or spatula so that it nicely frosts your cake. What I'm showing you, so I think that's a lot easier to get that consistency. So in this video, I want to show you how to get the cupcake swirl, because I think the cupcake swirl is more of a visual learning technique, and I think this will be very helpful for you. So I wouldn't use the same consistency as a cupcake swirl to frost my cake. I would use a thinner consistency. I would add more water. Okay, so I'm gonna get back here into making my frosting cupcake mix. And I always use a hand mixer like this one to mix the frosting for a cupcake swirl, because the frosting needs to be stiff, and if you try to do it with a spoon, it's really hard to get the right consistency. The hand mixer works very well, and it brings it all together for you and fluffs it up nicely. So when you do this, I'm making a powdery mess, sorry. When we do this, you want to let the mixer run for about 20 to 30 seconds, because as you can see, the longer I run it, the more it's forming the frosting together. So it's easy to add too much water when you're doing this, because it takes a minute for the frosting to form with the hand mixer. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons more water. I hope that's not too much, might be. You can add food coloring as well to the frosting. You can add powdered food coloring to the dry frosting mix. You can add gel food coloring after it's mixed. You can use liquid, whatever food coloring you prefer. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep mixing this up, and now you can see it is starting to take shape and it looks really good. So I want you to see how thick, yeah, this is perfect, how thick this frosting gets. Try not to make a mess. I recommend using a bigger bowl so that the frosting and powder doesn't get everywhere. I chose a small bowl so that you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, so now I already did a tip, and let me see if I can show you over the bowl. Okay, so I already added a tip to my bag. You can use any sort of tip you want. This one is a star tip, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's a star tip so that it has a nice cupcake swirl shape. All sorts of them are available online at, you know, local craft stores. So it's up to you which one you want. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put the frosting in the bag. And what I always use is I put an icing bag inside of a plastic or a glass, just because it holds open my bag for me. So I don't have to have 3 hands. I could just use 2. One to hold the bowl and the other one to scrape the frosting into the bag. So it's a nice little trick there for you, a little tip. I'm gonna put my bowl aside and shake it down. You want to make sure, and I'm gonna grab something to test my frosting on, because you want to make sure it's not too thick or too thin. And just going to quickly get this going. It's a little thick, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to show you this cupcake. And I'm going to quickly add an angle, which is not how I normally do this. Just do a quick little cupcake swirl for you, just so you can see how thick I made the icing, or the frosting, I'm sorry, to sit right on top of the cupcake. So this way, when this dries, it will stay in this shape. And that's why I recommend using the frosting, because if you were to use our icing product, you can get it really thick and probably do a cupcake swirl. But when it dries, it's going to just kind of like melt down, and not melt, but mold down into itself, and it's not going to keep the same shape. Our frosting products are different than our icing products. They are formulated to hold a cupcake shape, as we say, and this is what I'm talking about, cupcake swirl shape. You can do little flowers with it. You could do all sorts of decorating designs with the frosting, just like human bakers do on cakes. The sky is the limit, and so is your creativity. I hope this helps you a lot, and I look forward to seeing you in our other helpful videos.